Wow, welcome to the show. My name is Dr. James Komolafe, Chief Consultant, Cyber Resources Intervention Hub, your one stop behavioral hub for the good, the bad, and the ugly, where we handle all kinds of cases, psychosocial cases, physical, emotional cases ranging from drug addiction, substance abuse, depression, hypertension, and even suicide ideation. We have recorded various testimonials across continental waters over these maladies. In this second video, we are treating the incidences of drug and substance abuse. In other words, the menace of drug addiction and substance abuse, addressing and blocking the gaps, the loopholes and the vacuums from home. Up to tomorrow, charity begins at home. And we are working tooth and nail, I and my critical team in the Cyber Resources Intervention Hub to help stakeholders and parents identify the fact that behavior is at the root of addiction, and that stems from the home. Where the home is not in good order, then it provides a template for children to misbehave, and that big time. How do I identify a child with the incidences of drug addiction? What are the errors, 20 errors, in the errand of parenting parents and caregiver know to look at? I like to let you know that every home and every child operates within four elements of the behavioral health. And wherever the attention of a child goes, there the energy flows. The behavioral health is about the mental health. How good and great is that child mentally speaking? Physical health. How strong is he, given his capacity to observe good sleep, balanced dieting, and exercises as he builds and burns energy? How about the emotional health? The health of his relationships and responsibilities from home, his peers, and everyone he has come to work with. And then we look at the spiritual energy. Does he have appetite for godliness, moral rectitude, and upbringing? These four coordinates determine whether a child will do drugs or not. So, we want to see dangerous situation ahead and route it. We want to say, hey, it's time not to throw away the baby with the bathwater. That a child is into drugs does not mean he should be thrown away. Family bonding and preservation against contamination is key. We need to rescue a society out of a leadership generation gap and deficit. One pivotal way to addressing this is by tackling headlong the menace of drug addiction. So very vital, we need to build the family, the religious groups and societies out of moral rectitude and not recklessness, as we see in homes today. So, families, Stakeholders, it's time to build the family ecosystem as the foundation to the virile health of a child, the institution, and the society. A perfect ecosystem where the father and the mother are working tooth and nail to ensure that there is no gap at home and that no child is preferred to another is basic and pivotal. If we must not allow for gaps, loopholes, and vacuums. Where we have imperfect ecosystem, then the possibility for gaps and loopholes, vacuums will be created right under the same roof. We'll see misbehavior and all sort of vices ongoing. And that will make for a hideout or hideaway for a child. And we also find in some families the hybrid system, where there are levels of imperfection and there are also some level of perfection. We need to guide against that because what we stand for by virtue of family culture matters a huge lot in determining what happens to the child when he leaves the family roof. By way of further studies, traveling for vacation, or doing one thing or the other. As stakeholders and parents and guardians, you need to take to heart the temperaments of a particular child. Know for sure that a child differs from another. Basically, we have four kinds of temperament. The choleric, that's the leader there. The sanguine, that's the one who can say anything, talk anything. The melancholy, gifted and loaded, but takes his time. And then the phlegmatic, wow, so organized. He believes slow and steady wins the race. Quiet. These are just in summary, you know. We can provide you resources to know deep into this. So let there be harmony from home, because charity begins from home. Let there be no discrepancy. The dad and the mom must bond as one in training, equipping, and even in the discipline and disciplining of the child. Very vital. Where a child is preferred to a spouse gives room for violation to lifestyle protocol for a particular child. And you know what? Until there is violation within, there can be no violence without. When a child is doing violence because of drug addictive behavior, it is simply because he or she has violated himself or herself by the virtue of a deficit in his or her lifestyle protocol. So let's be careful, watch what we do and how we raise these children. Very vital. What are the things to avoid? If our children must not do drugs, we need to avoid energy overdraft, workaholic tendencies. We need to ensure that these children grow up roundedly without being lopsided. We need to run behavioral checkups from time to time to see the balance in these kids before we send them overseas for further studies, before we send them on vacation. Otherwise, they come back polluted and contaminated of a sort because they have engaged into drugs. So, very pivotal. Please, let's avoid drug addiction. Let's ensure that these children do the right thing for the right reason and cope well. Blend with the family resources, let's avoid these 20 issues that could lead to drug addiction from home, where we find gaps at home, then the tendency for them to do it wrong will be very obvious. So what are we saying in effect? Please, parents, don't walk in ignorance. Where we walk in ignorance, we give room for drug addiction. And then don't ignore, that is number 2 point. It's not a time to say, well, let them just go and study. Don't ignore their other areas of life. Very vital. Then the third error is the error of mispositioning from home, where God is not at the top. Wrong family arrangement must never be allowed. Everything should flow in order. God at top, the parents, and then the particular child. As we train them, raise them up in the fear of the God that we serve. Number 5, errors in the errand of parenting is priority problems. Please put first thing first for these children. Misunderstanding is number 6 between couples. Couples who usually go through fracas, misunderstanding, while the children are watching and even playing role and taking sides. I can bet it with you. They will eventually go violent into drugs later because they see what is happening at home. 7 is communication error. How do we talk with each other? Do we talk to each other or hold conversations at home where we look at what works and not who wins? But where you find frequent fracas and argument in the family, of course, that will provide gateways for violation to lifestyle protocol. And those children may end up doing drugs. How about lack of family values? Number 8. If you don't stand for something as a family, you fall for everything. So it is pivotal. Let your children know what the family culture is. What does the family stand to represent? Even from your name as a family. Legacy is something every family should build even while present, not when they are no more. Number 9 is error of presumption. You just believe because you are giving this child everything he or she needs and asks for, it's okay. No, don't presume. Ask questions. Profiling questions out of kindness, out of love, not out of intimidation. Don't do helicopter parenting where you are all hovering over the child. John, where are you? Jomai, what are you doing? Where are you now? And you are constantly on those children. No, don't do that. Allow them their space, especially when they are becoming teenagers, while you supervise, encourage, and teach what you believe and grow them in their maturation process. Number 10, lack of detection on the point of violation can lead to drugs. Rome was never built in a day, people say. And so the journey to addiction is not a one pep and go thing. It begins from just a simple thought, maybe introduced by a friend. Why not just take? And you see, it does not become an addictive behavior until there is several repetitive bad habits over time that swerve the individual away from his original person. And as soon as he begins to veer off, what happens? He takes that track in bad behavior that eventually becomes a destination that harasses the original life. Once that happens, wow, the individual has landed in addiction. He will know what to do to walk away, but it becomes very difficult to walk away because the behavior has overwhelmed and overpowered him on the inside, and he cannot say no to bad behavior, deviant behavior that continually harasses him on the inside. So the journey to addiction is not a 100-meter dash. It is several repetitive bad behavior built up in a particular individual. That is why motivation, education, and even training will not take away addictive behavior. It is intervention where you are able to profile and explore into that person, express what is seen through evidence-based report, and then establish the individual to his original default setting. And that is why we get results in Cyber Resources Intervention Hub. We engage the 3E model of exploration, expression, and establishment. And at the end of the day, no relapses anywhere. Well, that's a subject for another day. So what is point number 11 as per errors in parenting that gives way to drug addiction? It is inability to trace bad behavior. Don't just say, John, when did you begin this? How manage? Please find out. Keep track of these children, whether they are under your roof or somewhere else. Number 12 error, poor mental state. Don't just put those children in the best of the schools around the world. Help them grow their mind. Raise leaders from underneath your roof. Don't wait for the school to put them in order for you. Build frameworks that coordinates their potentials, their personalities, and their early proficiencies all together in one. You say, doctor, how do I do this? Ask for the free incentive. A child that is not frame on the inside cannot grow to become fire on the outside. And then they are susceptible to drugs, to bad behavior in some other nations of the world. Point number 13, the lack of sensitivity. Please work with your children with your number 6 sense. Do some tests, reality test, spot checks from time to time to really weigh their weight per time, mentally, emotionally, physically, and otherwise. 14, lack of sensibilities. Raise sensible children who can stand with their peers anywhere in the world. Stock them with what they need to build the rounded lifestyle. Point number 15, errors in the errand of parenting. Don't be too picky and pokey into their affairs. Give them room to breathe as you begin to take note of their good, the bad, and the ugly incidences, and coming up to time to supporting them to make it straight. That is the requirement of modern day parenting. Otherwise, they are contaminated outside there, just at one opportunity. And before you know it, they begin to do things they did not pick from home. Number 16, error of overlooking. Please don't look the other way when they are in errors. See how you can correct them? In love and in kindness. Very vital. Don't intimidate them. Don't haul at them. Teach and instruct. And believe God that they will follow suit. Number 17, absence of family values. I say it again, when you don't stand for something, then you are likely to fall for everything, and so does the children. So, very vital. Let family values and custom, culture be communicated irrespective of where they are and where they are going. Do this at early phase, and you will not have any cause to regret it later. Number 18, inability to capture the emotion. The temperament of a child per time will show you in point-blank analysis who the child is. What is the level of his emotional content and strength? Is he a phlegma? That could be different from a melancholia. And that could also be different from a choleric. Each of these characteristics and temperament has their own future that you cannot shove aside. And there's no one size fits it all for all your children. You need to understand them, what drives their passion, what moves their tick, if you must help them to be balanced, grounded, and rounded, and never to go the way of drugs. Very vital. Number 19, procrastination. Don't delay. Don't emphasize one area of their lives more than the other. What they should be exposed to as teenagers, show them, teach them. The one you cannot do, please get a professional. Therapy is one word everybody hates in Nigeria and Africa. You need a therapist not because anything goes the wrong, but simply because you want to keep straight record. You want to build roundedly in prevention, in education, intervention, detection, and consequent therapy will be issued. Very vital. Please don't delay. Look for the critical service a particular child needs and get the best. Last but not the least is family labor and taking things for granted. Don't call your child any name you did not give him or her originally. Don't take things for granted. Never despise a child because of bad behavior. That is not his original. Look at that child from his original point of view and know beyond every violent behavior, there's a violation within. And beyond violation within, there is a definition buried deep in that child. And if properly handled and managed, you are likely going to get the best out of your child. I hope you pick a lesson or two here in this edition. Please, parents, be aware. Build formidable framework for a child. When he is framed from within, he will go out there and project the family value, construct, and concept in great fireworks. It is framework within for fireworks without. Thank you so very much. Please take the 7 questions below and answer within 48 hours so that you'll be pre-qualified for the 3rd class. Thank you very much and see you next time. Bye-bye.